10, a joint resolution to repeal the authorizations for the use of military force against Iraq. Are there any amendments or any member seeking recognition? Senator Cardin.
Mr. Chairman, I do have an amendment that I will offer but would not seek a vote. And I would ask that my amendment that was a second-degree amendment be considered as a first-degree amendment, but with the understanding that I'm not going to seek a vote on the amendment.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, my amendment, and I support the repeal of the 2002 and 1991 resolutions, and I applaud Senator Kane and Young for their extraordinary patience and leadership in regards to that resolution. My amendment I'm not going to offer for two reasons. First, I don't think it would be approved, but secondly, if it got onto the resolution, it would make it more difficult for the resolution to pass, and I would like to see the resolution have the best opportunity to pass. And quite frankly, I was going to seek a vote on my amendment, which would put a sunset on the 2001 authorization, but a long delay before that would take effect in order for us to be able to pass a substitute or updated authorization. I must tell you, I've been impressed by the committee's process here. I think the classified briefing hearing was important, and I think yesterday's hearing was important. And I was impressed by the sincerity of the Biden administration, particularly Secretary Sherman's comments about her working with us to get a replacement resolution for the 2001. But I want to make a comment on that. If we leave it up to the decisions at state or defense, we will never get a resolution that I will support because I think it'll be a blank check. That's what they want. They want a blank check. They would just as soon to see the legislative branch of government take a pass on the authorization for force or the oversight of that authorization. And that's normal. I understand that. I do believe the Biden administration is sincere in working with us on a realistic authorization, and I have confidence that President Biden understands what he needs in order to keep America safe in regards to our fight against the terrorist groups in the Middle East. So I'm prepared to work with the Biden administration, but I must tell you, I think that we're going to have an extremely difficult time with the lawyers at defense and state as we look to replace the 2001 authorization. So I'm willing to give some time to the Biden administration to work with us and to come up with a resolution that we can support. I mentioned at yesterday's hearing we need to deal with the geographical aspects and whether there's further requirements for consent by Congress before additional actions are taken. What is the mission that we are trying to seek? Is there going to be a sunset on the new authorization? Those are issues that I think we have to talk about and come to agreement. And I hope we can do that with the Biden administration and reach a consensus here in our committee and in the Senate and the House. But I think that without imposing a sunset on the 2001, us reaching that point will be even more difficult. So I will introduce as a separate legislation, a separate resolution, a sunset of the 2001, but sufficient time for us to let this process reach a conclusion as to what substitute resolution should be considered. I think that puts the more direct interest by the Biden administration to come to an agreement with Congress on where we need to be. So for all those reasons, I will not press a vote today on that. I strongly support the resolution that's before us. But I do think if we're going to assert the role of Congress, if we listen to some of our discussions on the fear of repealing the 2002 resolution and the 91 resolution, we recognize that what we're doing is really saying that Congress will have no role in this, that we're going to let the executive branch make all the decisions here, and we're giving a blank check. That's not what was envisioned in our Constitution. That's not our responsibility. We need to take the responsibility for the introduction of troops on a more permanent basis. That's our responsibility to give that authorization. There's clearly adequate protection for the American people in regards to urgent use of military under Article 2. I think that's pretty clear. But I do believe we have to reassert our position, and it cries out for us to update the 2001. As the chairman has talked about the 2002 and the looking at the 91, it's clearly doesn't apply to today's circumstances. But I would point out the 2001 does not apply to the current situations. As Senator Paul pointed out in reading the 2001, read it. Read what it says. We're not using it today. The administration is using it today for force against entities that didn't exist in 2001, and we're not responsible for the attack of our country on September the 11th. And that's what it says specifically in the 2001 authorization. So we have a responsibility to update that, and I hope that we'll take advantage of that during this Congress. And I intend to offer legislation to give us that opportunity to have those discussions. And I really appreciate the chairman and ranking member making time available for us to deal with this most important issue.
Well, let me thank the senator for his sentiments and also for withholding today. And we look forward to working with the senator.